to another episode of Day Out with a Star. This is the platform where we celebrate and share the life stories of grassroots professionals working to shape innovative ideas to change the world. And today, let me welcome Kristina Mlakar, a green transit innovator. Kristy, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me here. I'm excited to have a discussion with you.
Yeah, and for our viewers, Kristy is an alumni of Masters of Science in Sustainability Management program from University of Toronto, and now she's working with CUTRIC as their National Operations Manager and Project Lead based out of Toronto. So, like before I start this interview, it's always my favorite question: who is Kristy?
It's such a good question and such a tough question. The short answer is I don't know, because she changes all the time for fun. But the long question, I'll kind of give you the overview from start to finish. So when I was really young, the two things I cared about most were sports and the outdoors. I played soccer competitively my whole life, all throughout high school, and went to university on a soccer scholarship and played soccer for McMaster University. So for most of my life up to that point, everything for me was soccer. And second to that was camping in the outdoors. My family and I used to go camping every summer, and it was my favorite thing. There's this one beautiful park in Ontario called Algonquin Park. And we went every summer for 2 to 3 weeks to go camping, and it was honestly my favorite thing in the world. So fast forward, when it came time to go to university, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was born, maybe back up a bit, I was born and raised in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. And so I went to elementary school and high school here. And then I went and did a Bachelor of Science degree at McMaster University, which is in Hamilton, so about half an hour from where I lived. And I started out in a general science program. I didn't know what I wanted, so I took a little bit of biology, a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of physics, kind of all of it. And then second year we had to specialize. And I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I liked the environment. So I was like, why not do environmental science? So second year, made perfect sense to me. So in second year, I switched over to environmental science. And I liked the courses I were taking, and they were interesting, but it wasn't quite grabbing me the way that I was expecting it to. It wasn't really my uber passion. And in my second year, I took one course on plate tectonics. And if you're not familiar with plate tectonics, essentially the Earth is made up of these massive rock plates. And they all together like a puzzle piece, and they ebb in and out. And they create mountains and volcanoes and oceans and so on and so forth. And it was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my whole life. So I became obsessed with geology. And then in my third year, I switched into a geology program. And then for the next 3 years, I really studied rocks. I was obsessed with rocks, everything to do with them. And I thought it was really cool. And in my second year, I played soccer for my first year and second year. And in second year, I got a really bad concussion.
Oh my God.
Career. Yeah. So then in my fourth year, because I wasn't playing soccer anymore, I decided to do an exchange semester. And I went and lived on this archipelago, which is a group of islands called Haida Gwaii. It's kind of in the northwestern coast of Canada, and it's inhabited by the Haida people. And the Haida people are the indigenous people, and they've lived on these lands for tens of thousands of years. It was one of the earliest colonized places in Canada. And so we were immersed in their culture, and they co-own the land 50-50 with the federal government. And there's nowhere else in North America where an indigenous peoples co-owns the land 50-50 with the Canadian government.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, just being there and learning about their culture. And ironically, their motto is everything is connected to everything. And they say it a lot more eloquently behind the language, but it's funny how that kind of came full circle with my sustainability degree. But at the time, I didn't even know what sustainability was. I had no concept of it. But I remember leaving that program and thinking that I needed to do something significant for the environment. I knew that, but I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So then after I finished my graduate degree or my undergraduate degree, I went into the Masters of Science program in Sustainability Management. And we can get to that a little bit more, but it essentially changed my whole life and brought me into green transportation, and I couldn't love it more.
Yeah, but like what motivated you to pursue this Sustainability Management program?
So I did my undergraduate thesis project. It's called paleoclimatology, and we're looking at a geochemistry and stable isotopes. So in what I was doing is looking at how oxygen isotopes can tell us temperatures of the ocean in the history. So in theory, what I was doing in the laboratory was helping us map out the history of Earth's climate, which told us that the climate is changing. And then you can use that data to extrapolate out into the future and figure out how the climate's going to change in the future if we keep going at certain rates. And although in theory that was helpful for climate change and it was doing good work to try to help the environment, it didn't feel like that when I was in a lab all day and just trying with my little test tubes and everything in a kind of isolated environment. I felt like I wasn't making that much of an impact. And so I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I didn't want to do a research master's because I didn't have a lot of knowledge in business and in economics, and I figured I needed that knowledge base in order to adequately influence society in a more tangible manner. And I remember finding the sustainability management program, and I can't really describe why, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is it.
Oh, wow.
It was just holistic, and it had a little bit of everything in it, and it seemed to be very customizable to what you wanted. And there was an internship in the summer, which is super key because you get some experience as part of your program. And then there was an opportunity to do an exchange semester out in Europe. And that was really big for me as well.
So like, what would you advise to the students who are trying to explore sustainability management programs? Would you recommend this MScSM program of University of Toronto to others?
100%. I think the one thing that I would recommend when looking at programs is taking a very critical look at what they actually define as sustainability. Sustainability, by definition, is the ability to sustain something. And in this context, is to sustain the Earth or to sustain human life on Earth. You cannot do that if you don't look at the environmental side of things, the economic side of things, and the social side of things. And I think a lot of times sustainability programs are trying to come at a problem of global sustainability from a lens of just environmental sustainability. But you can look at what works best for the environment, but it's likely not going to work best for economics in the traditional way that our business systems were set up. And so if you try to pursue that one pathway without having knowledge of economics and knowledge of social systems and politics and how that all works, then you're actually not going to be able to make that much of a difference. So I would say when looking at programs, make sure that the program acknowledges that and deeply understands it, and that pronged knowledge is embedded within the course content.
Yeah, but most important thing, how can this MScSM program that you're talking about equip students for a great future career? Tell me more about how you did secure your research.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think the thing that the sustainability management program offers, I'd say two sides to it. One is endless opportunity, like frankly, endless opportunity. I remember the first week we had a consultant come in. Her name was Emily. I forget what her last name is now. And she said to us that we as students will never have as many opportunities in the rest of our life as we have on this day. And this was before we'd even formally started our courses. And that was kind of a statement that hit home for me. And I realized that I was never going to be able to be or have the luxury of being a curious student and asking people for help and going out and asking questions. Because once you get into the workforce, it's a little bit harder. You sort of lose that student status that gets you a bit of a pass to ask questions and be really nosy and eager in some ways. So I took advantage, I think, of a lot of the outside of school course opportunities that were networking opportunities, personal growth opportunities. And then I think the other side of it was that the sustainability management program, you don't necessarily come out of it with tangible skills. You're not getting certified as an accountant or you don't have to do some certain banking system, but you have a way of thinking about any problem that comes your way from a holistic nature. So instead of looking at a problem and only looking at it from one viewpoint, you're able to look at it sort of from a top-down perspective and understand all of the pieces and how they fit together. And then you can use that frame of reference and frame of thought and then reapply it to essentially any context or any problem you come across.
Exactly. But Leah, do tell me, like, how did you secure your internship that eventually led to your job?
Yeah, so it's a good question as well. At the beginning of the program, as I mentioned, Emily was there and she said, take advantage of every opportunity. Another thing that she said that really hit home for me was that you can look at the opportunities like a buffet. Right now we're at a buffet and we can choose to take a small side plate and put a little bit of salad on there and go sit down, or we could choose to eat everything.
Right.